even if we're not sure of anything, we are certain that the town of Daura would be going through lots of experiences at a time like this. The crowd, the crowd on the streets. Just a while ago, we saw sea of heads and people waving. We may not be sure who they are waving at, but it's obvious that they are out there to bid farewell to one of their own, and some dignitaries and some personalities that may have come from outside of the state will not be able to access, or gain entrance into the compound, as our people had told us who had been to that compound. Ayo was very, very specific to say that the space there will not be more than 2 plots of land, and we can imagine where all of these people from across the country had come. It would be very difficult to imagine how many people the compound can accommodate. So the streets of the town will be quite busy, where the people will be just to catch a glimpse of, even if it's just the vehicle that carried the remains of the former president. That will be enough for a lot of people, and they will go home happy and proud that at the end of the day they were able to see the vehicle. If they are lucky to see the wrapped body, that will be an additional thing of joy. But we know that things are gearing up to get to the end, to the climax, for the body to be committed to Mother Earth. This is a convoy, obviously, and entourage, a lot of people walking in from one direction to another. Okay, we just saw something that looked like the ambulance, the military ambulance, yes. Obviously, that's what it is. The military ambulance that took the body from the airport has arrived. And what next? We think it might be the prayer, that they will go for the prayer, and after the prayer, then the body will be committed to Mother Earth, and that will be it. A journey that began Sunday evening, when the death of the former president was announced in a clinic in London. And though the burial was expected to have taken place on Monday, but it was later shifted. President Muhammadu Bola Tinubu had directed the Vice President, Katsina, to head straight to London to coordinate every activity of bringing back the body of the former president. Right there in London, the governor of Borno State, the chief of staff to the president, all joined in ensuring that the process was carried out smoothly. While also in London, we see the vice president right here in the live pictures that we have. But while he was in London, he also visited the former head of state, General Abdul Salam, who was hospitalized before now in London and was discharged later. These are, okay, the chief of staff to the president we see now, and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, and several other people moving now, maybe for the prayer to be held, and then we see what happens next, where the body will be committed to Mother Earth.
We also have former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who served alongside the former President Muhammadu Buhari there, alongside other dignitaries gathered to pay their last respects to the former president. The former president of Niger Republic is also there. There he is with the red hat. We also have the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum. That is the governor of Katsina State, Umar Diko Rada. And they're standing there by the ambulance. We think they are trying to get directives as to how to proceed now for the prayers. There is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, alongside other dignitaries. Our reporters mentioned earlier that tens, hundreds of dignitaries are gathered there. Talk about some governors, 7 governors, former governors, senators, members of the House of Representatives. And let's pause now to listen to some sound from there. But there we see the body being wheeled. Right. Waiting to be wheeled, yes. We're minutes away from the committal of former President Muhammadu Buhari, who lived a life of service and spent over a decade serving fatherland, first in his capacity as head of state, and then later as democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that will bring to an end this glorious career spanning more than a decade.
When close family will have time to pay their last respect before the interment will take place. Perhaps that's what's about to start or what is going on now. We didn't see much of ladies in black before now. Okay, we see them more now again. And that suggests that it's something close to deep emotion taking over this period. Some personal prayers being offered, and you lots of thoughts. You can only imagine what's going through their minds at a time like this. Someone they have lived with all their lives, called father, called uncle, called brother. Now, getting close to the time that they wouldn't see him anymore. Quite an emotional moment for them.
A very emotional moment indeed. It is. Prayers would any moment now be offered for the former president. We see, just like Uzonna mentioned, some people there already filing to pray and to pay their last respect, after which his body would be committed to Mother Earth. We see mourners taking turns around the ambulance to pay their last respects. The former president, Muhammadu Buhari, retired as a major general, and today we have seen a show of honor coming from military personnel of that rank and above in the army and in the associated ranks in the Navy and the Air Force, honoring his legacy. And it's good to note that while he became head of state, he did not promote himself, going on to retire as a major general. Any moment now, the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari would be interred at his former resting place. Live pictures there of Vice President Kashim Shettima and other persons who have gathered to mourn the passing of the former president. That a former minister, Olonimbe Mamora, it's a very solemn moment. You see mourners being consoled. We also see military personnel taking the charge to ensure that events go seamlessly.
The solemn moment, also, like you said, you see people trying to take turns looking into the ambulance, people who expect family and friends trying to pay their last respect to one person that they have respected and honored all through their life.
So one can say that in death, just as in life, Muhammadu Buhari enjoyed
12
the
million
love,
votes.
12 million votes.
500 meters to the compound. Considering the crowd and the volume of traffic, vehicles that are here, a lot of people may never get as close as 500 meters to the compound. But as far as they are concerned, they will leave satisfied that they were part of this moment to bid farewell to a president that Nigerians will live to talk about forever. So that's what the moment signifies for a lot of the people. You can imagine where, look at the people that we see inside the premises. Most of the former governors, most of the former ministers, you can't find them because the space is limited. And then imagine all the people, all the political supporters of the president, the former AMPP supporters, the former CPC supporters, and even the APC people that are in APC because of him. Imagine where they are all gathered. So the stretch is even beyond what we can see. So that's what it means to be a popular person amongst the people.
It's quite popular. It seems a lot of persons they just want to pay their last respect, irrespective of the distance. You see some waving at the convoy, if that's how close they can get.
Indeed. And it's a state funeral. So this is an honor from Nigeria as a nation. President Bola Tinubu has made it a point of duty. He made it a point of duty to personally receive the body and to lead the nation in this day of mourning. It's a 7th day of mourning that has been declared from Sunday, where the death was announced of the former president. And that would run from Sunday through Saturday, And we know that all national flags are to fly at half-mast. And as a matter of fact, today has been declared a public holiday. Perhaps also that contributed towards having these many people out there who have the opportunity to step out and pay their final respects.
These pictures on the screen quite indicate that former President Muhammadu Buhari was revered, not just as the former president or an indigene of that community, but as someone who had values that he stood for and was quite consistent during his time as head of state and also, coming back as a democratically elected leader. One thing that you see that was constant through his, leadership or administration was that it was quite unshaken about the things that he stood for, things like anti-corruption, ensuring that there were no things like indiscipline. And so, quite a solemn moment in Daura today. It's been a while since we've seen a large crowd of mourners, gathered to bid someone farewell. A large crowd as much as this, especially a community like Daura that wasn't exactly, as prominent uh, before this time.
Some of the things that Ayol said when he came up, the man who covered President Buhari's election in 2015, and likely 2019 also, part of the things he said was, highlighted the fact that this was a man who was down to earth. He was already the presidential candidate of his party, number one. He was a retired major general in the army. He was a former head of state, military head of state. But Ayo said that when they got to his compound before that election period, they just saw just about two soldiers in the house of a major general, in the house of a former head of state. Balance it with what we have today, when a local government chairman will have up to 10 mobile policemen guarding him. A local government chairman. I don't want to talk about governors and the rest, but in his case, it was a different scenario entirely, still highlighting his humility and feeling comfortable amongst his people, because he's only someone who is worried and scared that would be covering and shielding himself from his people.
All right, Uzonna. Let's speak to Lupe Asom, a reporter who is standing by at the Daura residence. He's actually in the Daura residence of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Lupe, talk to us about what is happening there. So we can't establish contact with Lupe at the moment, but we'll get back to him for live reports and coverage from the residence where the former president would actually be interred.
Okay,
Yes.
you can imagine what will be going on in there. So if you cannot establish contact, it's understandable, because there will be lots of pushing and shoving.
All right, Jason, I understand we should just try to see if, we can get that connection. Now, Lupe, if you can hear me, I'm asking about what is going on there within, at the residence. And, there's also the possibility of network being down because of the dignitaries
that are there now.
That are there now. Okay, Lupe, it does appear you're muted. If you could unmute your device and tell us what is happening there as we await the interment of the former president. All right, it must be a very busy scene.
Very busy.
There.
You can just imagine it. Security operatives will have their hands full, putting everybody in check, where not to cross, where to stand, where not to stand, and all of that. That may even contribute to slight delays here and there, because until things are properly put in place, there may not be space to even move the body, to where the actual interment will take place. So it may cause a bit of delay, and we understand all of that, and we know that the quality of personnel we have will have plotted everything, and then continue to manage it as it occurs and, expands. So we are still monitoring that. And if you see the live pictures we have on the screen there, some vehicles have been on one spot for minutes.
Yes.
They've been on one spot for minutes, which suggests, and we cannot see the end of that stretch of vehicles. Okay, they're just making slow movement now. We cannot see the end of that stretch of vehicles, which would only confirm that this is a jammed town. Everyone appears to be there. People are from different corners, different parts of the country, and even beyond. We know that. Okay, so over to you, Apostle, please.
All right, so let's now go to Abuja, where Ayodele Zubakwan and Femi Akonde are standing by. We can see, I'm sure that you can also see the pictures from there. Of course, the body is already in Daura.
Yes.
Any moment now, the body would be entered. Talk to us about, what you make of what is happening and what you can see. Ayo.
To talk about the man, the late Muhammadu Buhari himself, this gathering will tell you this is just the main express road that leads to his house. That this is not just this particular picture you're seeing is the overflow. But I can tell you that I've been to some governor's house, I've been to some senator's house. They can accommodate as much as they have like a whole street to themselves, and the normal.
Admiral Suleiman Dow, Rear Admiral Jonathan Ajodo, Rear Admiral Samuel Ingatua, Air Vice Marshal Adeli Herbert Ameshinola, Air Vice Marshal Isani, and Air Vice Marshal Upina Obiawaka, and Major General Mike Alechen coordinated the team, and we saw in the slow march in sync with the hymn, God be with you, till we meet again, passing through a full military guard of honor comprising 6 officers and 96 soldiers drawn from the Nigerian Armed Forces. President Bola Tinubu and others walked behind the casket trolley in the solemn procession. The pallbearers escorted the casket into a waiting military convoy for the 1-hour journey to Daura with funeral prayers and the burial ceremony. This is what we see.
brought a lot of glory, has brought a lot of attraction to Daura, and the people today. I'm sure that they are going to know that. Look, it's going to take how many years again for them to have a man like Muhammadu Buhari across the length and breadth of that city today is going to be something that they are going to spend some days, even morning after departure of this crowd today. So it's not going to be an easy time, and reality is they're going to be faced with reality immediately. The former president is intact, proper and intact today, and a lot of people will now face that reality that they might not see. They the one they call Megaskia, that the truthful one, because after he even left the presidency, most of the time we want to take a stroll. We've seen pictures on social media. He will just come out and people will be calling him ba 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 ba. Will still be waving and still talking about his kind of popularity, the kind of man he was, and so unfortunate that the they might not see the one they call Megaskia again, possibly.
All right, Femi, we understand called for a special Federal Executive Council meeting in honor of the former president, which was later postponed. Talk to us about when a possible, date will be announced and what, we should be expecting.
Well, we do not know the format that special executive council meeting will take. We know it has been postponed now to allow for victory event where goodwill messages will be delivered. Everyone would speak about their experience working with the former president Muhammadu Buhari, especially when he was presiding as chairman of the Federal Executive Council. We do not know if but we believe that some members of his family will also represent the family in that special FEC meeting. But of course, we do not know if his wife, Aisha Buhari, will be there because she may still be mourning and would not want to begin to attend public events yet. We also do not know if that will be deferred till after the whole mourning period, so that it will be a bit more elaborate, of course, to honor a man who has also served the country for many years as first as a military president and later as a democratically elected president. The format is not clear, but that's for the executive arm of government and, of course, the secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, to coordinate, how that whole activity will be at the end of the day. But we expect it to be, quite significant, honoring the memory Muhammadu Buhari, and to also be President Bola Tinubu's way of indeed showing respect to a man, his predecessor, a man he worked closely with to unseat the opposition in 2015. And a man that also supported him in 2023, which he eventually won the election, and continued to support him until former President Muhammadu Buhari fell ill. President Tinubu still again had to dispatch the vice president to go check on him and inquire about his welfare. And sadly, the former president, died at the London hospital, and then his his body has now been brought back, and the interment is about to happen. But we believe that beyond the interment, there will still be activities to honor former President Muhammadu Buhari, both by President Bola Tinubu and by other relevant authorities. Olamide.
All right, Femi. Let's bring in Aya here. Earlier, we were talking about the need to immortalize the man, Muhammadu Buhari, and we spoke earlier with the
What's that?
prayers are now being offered for the repose of the soul of former President Muhammadu Buhari. After this, the interment would take place.
House of the former President Muhammadu Buhari, the service chiefs are on parade, other senior military officers as well are also on parade. So at this moment, we are waiting for the ambulance to make its way into the house. We can see governors arrive, Babagana Zulum of Borno State. We can see senators also arrive who are just coming back from the helipad where they went to pray for the repose of the soul of the president according to Islamic rites. So these are live pictures. A couple of them are now making their way into the garden designated to the garden where his body will be committed to the earth. Sympathizers are trooping in to his house, hoping to catch a glimpse of what will be the last for them of maybe the body of the former president. The press have been restricted to this area to ensure there is law and order. The ambulance is now making its way into the house of the former president. will be led President Bola Tinubu, will be leading the delegation of mourners who will be coming in to also witness the interment of the body of the former president. We can see the governor of Katsina State making his way in. Representative Tajuddin Abbas, who is also trying to catch a glimpse of security is very tight, and the military personnel are right here to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order. We can see the former Vice President, Yemi Oshibanjo, making his way into that arena. So at this moment, we can confirm to our viewers that the president you can hear the announcement that only His Excellency the President. Now, the President is now moving into the graveyard where the President, the former President, Muhammadu Buhari, will be interred. The graveyard where the President
We are moments away from the interment of former President Muhammadu Buhari, who died on Sunday at the age of 82. President Bola Tinubu led mourners to his graveside where the ceremony is taking place. TVC News is live at the graveside and we'll be bringing you live pictures just like we have on screen now from the location. We can see that President Bola Tinubu is seated in pictures we showed a while ago. President Tinubu is seated there. And beside him, his Vice President, Kashim Shettima, who was dispatched to London to commiserate with the family and bring the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari back home. We also have the former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who served alongside former President Muhammadu Buhari in his capacity as deputy. Governor Hope Uzodinma, alongside other 7 governors, some former governors, are also there. Live pictures there at the graveside. Here are live pictures from the graveside. It's just a matter of moments before the committal process begins. Former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in conversation with Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. And there we have the Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibrin, who's also there interacting with Governor Hope Uzodinma. Beside him, there we see the Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu, Femi Gbadabiamila. We'll see the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu. That looks like the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris. They're all gathered to bid former President Muhammadu Buhari farewell. He would be committed to Mother Earth any moment now. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbadabiamila, in conversation with both the President and Vice President, perhaps trying to get clarification on some matters before the committal process would begin. Speaker of the House of Representatives is sitting on the left of the President there, is Abbas Tajuddin. All seated waiting patiently. And behind the president standing there is son of the president, Tinubu. The governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, is also in attendance. It's good to see that even in death, Muhammadu Buhari is a unifying force, bringing together people from different political divides, people of different faiths, gathering in solemn reverence for the man who has had the opportunity to lead Nigeria in different capacities. First, as military president, and then later as democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Live pictures from Daura in Katsina State, where former President Muhammadu Buhari would be interred any moment now. TVC News is live at the graveside, bringing you pictures, moment by moment, of events taking place there. Pictures there of President Bola Tinubu, who is leading the nation in mourning the man, Muhammadu Buhari, his predecessor as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. All is set. You can see a close-up picture there of the grave. Remember, former President Muhammadu Buhari was a Muslim, and he's being buried today in line with Islamic rites. He died on Sunday at a London clinic at the age of 82. After which President Bola Tinubu ordered his Vice President, Kashim Shettima, to lead the federal government delegation to both commiserate with his family in London and to accompany the body back home to Nigeria. Security is watertight in and around the residence of the former President Muhammadu Buhari, as military personnel alongside sister security agencies work together Daura residence of the former president to bring you live coverage of the committal process, which begins any moment now. Just before now, prayers were offered for the repose of the soul of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. Before that, we saw family members gathered around the ambulance conveying his body to both pray and pay their last respects. It was an 88-kilometer journey from the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport, where the Nigerian Air Force aircraft conveying his body touched down at about 2 p.m. West African time. President Bola Tinubu personally received the body, and then the onward journey began to Daura in Katsina State, where his body would be interred.
The simplicity of this whole process is what will rekindle the thought of the vanity of life in itself. For a man who was the military head of state of a large country like Nigeria, controlled several things, resources, natural and human, and then later came back to be a democratically elected president for 8 years with so much power. At a time like this, all he has is a very small portion of land and a very, without any fanfare, without any decoration, without anything that would seem, to suggest that this was a man of affluence. So those of us that are still living will be left with the thought that after all we are running around for, after all we are laboring ourselves about, when a time like this comes, this is all we get and nothing more. President taking a stand, taking a place around the graveside, waiting for that moment that everyone had been waiting for, when the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari will be committed to Mother Earth.
And we also see the son of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, in these live pictures. Dignitaries gathered around the grave to pay their last respect. Any moment from now, the body of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, will be laid to rest. This is the final stage of paying respect to the former president. Muhammadu Buhari has been described by President Bola Tinubu as a patriot, a soldier, and a statesman who served Nigeria. Described as a statesman, a former statesman in Nigeria, so and that's the son of a soldier, an unwavering dedication to Nigeria. And
One of the good things today, one of the good things today The temperature in Katsina used to be place that could get up to Um, the temperature is not as harsh as it used to ordinarily be, so it's a bit more friendly for a lot of people that came in from different parts of the country. So it's a bit more friendly for a lot of people that came in from different parts of the country. A lot of people that came in from different parts of the country into the place for the funeral. Comfortable, comfortable for them to process. A while ago, still with several people, thousands of people still lining up on the road. I cannot imagine how it's going to. I mean, of many people, wherever they came from, and we hope that everything works out well, safely. We're still waiting for that particular moment when the body of the former president will be brought in here, and then the final, stage is lowered into the ground, sealing that journey that began on Sunday. We are all waiting, patiently waiting. The world is waiting. Nigerians are waiting. People of Katsina are waiting and monitoring for you.
Indeed, TVC News is live at the graveside there. Of moment by moment, the world watches. Committal. Muhammadu Buhari to moment now. Operatives are trying to who stays where. Everything goes smoothly. And look at
at the rank of Major General. Our correspondent Lupa Asom had told us earlier that getting access into this environment was a very daunting task, and that limits the number of cameramen you can have in that space. It will be expected that TVC News will be the source for signal for most TV stations covering this burial. I'm not too sure about that, but I suspect because of the limitations earlier announced of people being able to access, gain access into that place. So TVC News right now might be the provider of the signal, and that would be a good thing for us to share with our colleagues. We're out of that place. The cops.
time for permission to be rendered by the Chief of Defense Staff and President of Nigeria, General CG Musa AFR.
I did.
Citation of the former president is being read by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, at the graveside there at his residence in Daura. Any moments now, his body will be committed to Mother Earth.
Of former President Muhammadu Buhari being read by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher. Former President Muhammadu Buhari served this country in various capacities, and that's why you're seeing, the time it is taking for his citation to be read. He joined the military at a very young age. We hear at the age of 19 or thereabout. Served, rose through the ranks to become, a senior ranking officer before he eventually worked with other officers in that coup in 1983, where they ousted the civilian administration of Alhaji Shehu Shagari. But he also came back in another capacity before he again re-emerged as a Democrat, reinvented himself as a Democrat, contested election 3 times, Ayo. But let's talk about, he contested election 3 times, and on these 3 occasions, he also went to court. Doesn't that speak to his belief in Nigeria's justice system?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the first one, 2003, his clearance at the Supreme Court, and he followed through.
Yeah.
But by that time, we've not perfected our electoral act, so the thing spanned for almost 2.5 years before they could get justice. And it's on record all through that time. He wasn't attending the Council of State meeting. That's our principal demand, was. He wasn't attending the Council of State meeting. Once he's in court, he has the highest fix of the court, and he appears in court cases all through. That time, I remember Chief Umeo said, one of his lawyers saying that, look, the man believes in the system, that it's a born-again Democrat. He was described as a born-again Democrat. So in 2007, he followed through the same thing, the same pattern, but a lot of Nigerians will say that he was not appealing to the entire country. His candidacy was not appealing to the entire country, that you have to have the spread as stated in the Constitution, that 24 out of
Committal process begins now for former President Muhammadu Buhari. The national flag is being folded and will be handed over to a member of the Buhari family. This is tradition. This flag is a symbol of Nigeria. It's a national flag, and now being folded in a particular manner according to tradition and in honor of the man, Muhammadu Buhari, who has served as commander-in-chief of the armed forces, first as military president, and later as democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Once that process is concluded now, that flag...
Expect the body to be committed to Mother Earth. And watching this process, of course, is the president and the vice president. We see them seated, waiting for this process to end. So the body...
Yeah, the moment now, the flag is being handed over.
It's been handed over to a member of the family. And a salute to the same member by the military force. Okay. This is symbolic, showing respect for the former president. We see the vice president, Hashim Shetima, approaching the body, the graveside, as the national flag has been handed over. We also see the national flag being removed from the body of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. I would expect that next is committing the body to Mother Earth.
And at any moment now, the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari would be interred. We see some of the dignitaries standing there around the body. It's quite a busy scene there, but our cameraman is doing his best to give us a shot as close as possible of the process. The body being lowered there.
Here, prayers being made.
The representative of the President of Chad Republic, and the former President of Niger, Muhammadu, and distinguished members of the National Assembly, members of the Federal Executive Council, and the Prime Minister of the Niger Republic is also here. And we are finally listening to and Barika Ibrahim Shema, the Deputy Governor and National Secretary is also here. And now the final process of the program will be taking place. And so on this side, communication, and so the Governor is also here.